and the prevailing sentiment in Azad Kashmir, in all the meetings which I have conducted and all the people which I have met, they have been saying that they are not against the Pakistan, but they want this relationship to be at parity. They want this relationship to be, dignified and to be mutual and reciprocal rather than an upper hand and a lower hand relationship.
Hello and welcome to In Conversation After a Long Gap. With Pakistan government and Jammu and Kashmir Joint Awami Action Committee, JKJAAC, arriving at some agreement, calm is finally restored in Pakistan-administered Jammu and Kashmir, also called Azad Jammu and Kashmir on the other side, which since September 29 has been caught in spirals of violence and crisis, in which 12 civilians and 3 security men were killed. Many others were injured and an unspecified number of people were jailed. There's been a crackdown on activists, journalists, and a communication blockade, and I believe the internet is now restored. So what is the JKJAAC movement about? And what does the agreement on October 4 entail for the region? Joining me today to understand this and to unpack the larger issues that inform this crisis is Dr. Raja Qaiser Ahmed. He is an associate professor of School of Politics and International Relations at the Quaid-e-Azam University, Islamabad, in Pakistan, and an author of Kashmir Conundrum, Reconciliation, Peace Building, and Conflict Transformation. He's presently based in England, where he's working on a book project, Timber Sota, Politics of Resistance and Nationalism in Pakistan's Administered Kashmir 2019 to 2025, which sounds like a fascinating work. Dr. Raja Qaiser, thank you for joining me today. And
My pleasure.
please start by giving a brief sense of what the mood is in AJK. And how do you see this new compact between the Pakistan government, the AJK government, and the JKJAAC? There's a sudden turn of around in the events. And will it, I mean, just very briefly, will it assuage the concerns of the people? Or do you think this may be a temporary pause? Just share some of your early thoughts.
Well, thank you, Anuradha. I mean, it's an absolute pleasure and delight. I have been, reviewing your work. I have been studying your work, which you have been doing over the years. So, yeah, it's my privilege to, be speaking to you on this particular matter. So, I was in Azad Kashmir, for the past 3 months, and I have been meeting these people, interviewing them, and conducting field research for my book, which you have just outlined in your introduction. So, things they do not start from September 29, but rather I believe that, these issues and this entire eventuality, it brewed in the aftermath of the revocation of the Article 370 on August 5th, 2019. I believe that being myself a Kashmiri who have born and raised in Azad Kashmir and had studied in this part. So this region, it felt greatly alienated. After that very what you can call as a very drastic change which occurred on the August 5th, 2019. So people of this region, they felt being alienated, being detached, and they felt they have been left alone. Because if you see the first of the immediate reaction to that, it happened in October 2019, when a very large number of people, they moved towards LOC. So they wanted to cross the LOC, and by then, by the intervention of the state's executive machinery and the internal leadership of Azad Kashmir, so, the situation was somehow mitigated. But that, thing that continued, that sentiment, it continued afterwards. So even this very eventuality which started, and this protest and the lockdown which started on September 29th, it is the third in the series in the past 2 years. It started initially with the protest against the increased tariff of electricity, and then when the subsidy which was given to people on the flour, it was leaved off. So the people then they marched against the government, and they demand restoration of the subsidy, and they demanded reduction in the electricity tariff. So that was the time when this when this momentum it unleashed, and it clubbed all and sundry in this movement, because the issue was very genuine, and it considered to be, it was considered to be everyone's issue over there. So that was the time when this joint Awami Action Committee, it was founded, or it came into existence. So after that, this Joint Awami Action Committee has successfully demonstrated, and this is, in the they managed to reduce the electricity prices, and then they also managed to get back the subsidy which was earlier removed by the government. So then in the second protest, that they have been able to again, uh, uh, put forward their demands very emphatically, and that was, protest also was a success, because that was, against some of those punitive actions which was taken against the people of this Awami Action Committee in the earlier protest, and then there were some demands, which were very for the basic necessities of the people over there. This is the third time when this Joint Awami Action Committee has come up with the political demands. And those political demands, two of them very significant. I mean, besides all of them, there was a 38 demands, a charter of 38 demands, which was put forward before this protest. It was unleashed on September of 29th. But two of them, which are very significant, which were one, they wanted the 12 seats, which are in the AJK's Legislative Assembly, which are reserved for the migrants, who hold the state subject. And they, in these legislative seats, they are situated in Pakistan. These are 12 seats. For them, elections are conducted not in AJK, but in Pakistan. So into different cities like Rawalpindi, like
Yeah,
Sialkot,
right.
yeah, and Karachi even for that matter. So, and second was to curtail the extravaganza of the sitting government over there. I mean, what they call as the perks and privileges, which the government sitting in Muzaffarabad is enjoying. So these were the two demands over which deadlock persisted, because the negotiation committee, which was earlier formed by the government in Islamabad, it was ready to concede to 36 demands, but the deadlock persisted over these two demands, which have been catered yesterday. So, and with that, this protest, it has come to an ultimate conclusion. And coming to, your precise question, the mood is very much charged, and people, they celebrate it as their thumping victory, because they believe that they have very successfully demonstrated their right to live with dignity. They have, and I believe that people, and the prevailing sentiment of in Azad Kashmir in all the meetings which I have conducted, and all the people which I have met, they have been saying that they are not against the Pakistan, but they
Mhm.
want this relationship to be at parity. They want this relationship to be, dignified and to be mutual and reciprocal rather than an upper hand and a lower hand relationship.
Okay, let me come here. For regarding these questions, the two contentious issues that you mentioned, the 12 legislative assembly seats which are reserved for Kashmiri refugees settled in mainland Pakistan, and the perks of the ministers and bureaucrats, etc. Now, a committee is going to be formed to review these. So it's is it like buying time, or would it be something more meaningful that will come out of that? But more importantly, I would also want you to reflect on this demand of which is the abolition of these 12 legislative assembly seats. Now, this is a very interesting demand, and it kind of stands out from rest of the demands which are pivoted around issues of autonomy, issues of control of land, of resources, of better governance. Now, my question is like, how do people
Yeah.
in AJK view these refugee origin communities in mainland Pakistan and vice versa? And why is this issue important?
Yeah. So
Um,
I would be responding your question not theoretically, but by giving you a real time an insight. An interview of Pakistan's the ruling party, Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, and it's one of very seasoned politicians, Rana Sanaullah, who happens to be the advisor of the Prime Minister of Pakistan, and he happens to be one of the very key leaders of Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz. And he has just recently been ascended to the position of senator as well. His statement is very much making the rounds in social media in Azad Kashmir, in which he's saying that Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz is going to make government in Azad Kashmir, because as far as these 12 refugee seats are concerned, we will they are will handle them, and we only need 12 people to just make
mhm.
the government. So this kind of
The fear
sense.
that it's going to be manipulated.
And it has been manipulated,
Mm-hmm.
because you see, Azad Kashmir Assembly has, Azad Kashmir is one of the very unique regions where, I mean, except for the General Ziaul Haq's time, the democratic process always continued even during the martial law regimes. So, this political instability in Azad Kashmir has largely been connected to the presence of these seats for refugees, because in-house changes, they are instituted, within days. So, you just have to, put 12, because you only need, it used to be 49 members assembly, and now it is 53 members, including the reserved seats. But you only need 25 people to make a government. 25, you only need 25 people on your side to make a government in Muzaffarabad. So if you
Mm-hmm.
have 12 already on
Your side.
your call, so it's very easy for you to manipulate the government, or
Mm-hmm.
to institute a in-house change, or when because Azad Kashmir's elections, they have a different schedule than the schedule of the elections in Pakistan. So whosoever comes there in Islamabad in power, it tries to institute its own government in Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why these 12 seats, they have become largely contentious, and they have been there. And secondly, the presence of these mm, particular constituencies, they are, they fall in the broader premise of the electoral constituencies of Pakistan. So the MLAs who are based in AJK, and they have development funds to spend those funds into those constituencies which are already in Pakistan, and where already MNAs and MPAs of Pakistan are spending their
Okay.
development funds. So, people in Azad Kashmir, they think, because you see, you will be, staggered to know this fact that out of 310 billion of the budget which is given to Azad Kashmir by the Islamabad, only 31 billion is spent on development budget. I mean, it is spent on development. So
Mm-hmm.
rest the budget, it goes to the mechanics of the statecraft. So yeah, so that is why people, they think, and I tell you, through my personal first hand account, because I still have been frequently visiting Azad Kashmir, because my relatives, my parents, they all, and we have a house over there. So, even in my village, and even all the adjacent villages, people are constructing, connecting roads on their own, pooling up
Mm-hmm.
money themselves, and making, road networks, and then, making them viable through their own efforts. There is no when there is acute shortage of water, drinking water in Azad Kashmir, and people, they have to pool in money to, go for water digging and boring projects. So, and then it makes people realize at large that what this statecraft is meant for, when
Mm-hmm.
they cannot provide you the basic necessities of life, like water, health, education, even road infrastructure. So this budget of 310 billion, when it is spent on
Very little of
political.
that is being spent on the people, and yeah, I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
your
And
I,
so,
I
so
get
that
your
is
point.
why this has become a very important issue over there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would, bring in an academic argument, which you will be, reading in detail once my book is out. I think, this present generation of Azad Kashmir, I mean, this young generation of Azad Kashmir, it has realized one thing, that the state's sovereignty is not achievable in their lives. And this is what I have inferred from interacting the people who are spearheading this movement as well. So they think it is the high time to redirect their energies to people's sovereignty, to go for the civil rights of the people. So, and as far as, one of my very good friends, and who is very active in branding a Kashmir issue, and he's he's based in United Kingdom, Sardar Aftab Khan. He often uses a term. He says that, this Joint Awami Action Committee has successfully set up a template for the resistance movements, for the civil rights resistance movements across the world. So, how you can, negotiate, and how you can, come up with a pragmatic solution for the people, rather than indulging yourself into those issues where you cannot resolve them on your own.
Okay. But even though these are issues kind of tied to more autonomy, political, economic autonomy, but at the same time, you did mention that the movement, the activists and the people, they were clear that this is not a movement against Pakistan, but it is for their rights, for their identity, for their autonomy, and their political civil rights. But at the same time, is there a connection to the disputed territory status of Jammu and Kashmir? You mentioned right at the very beginning that this whole movement kind of, it was built on, it started from August 5, 2019, when
Yeah.
on the Indian side, Jammu and Kashmir lost its special status and was divided into two union territories. So,
Yeah.
how is it tied to the disputed territory status of Jammu and Kashmir? We like a little more.
Yeah, yeah.
It is quite
This,
complex.
yeah. This is very pertinent question, Anuradha, and I believe that people of this joint Awami Action Committee, they are well informed on this. They are not just taking it as Azad Kashmir as some internal administrative unit merely or precisely. They
Mm-hmm.
know that it is part of the conflict geography, and its future is tied up to the overall fortune of the Kashmir dispute in nutshell. So, but at the same time, they have been giving some very plausible solutions regarding this. Like one of them was to bring these 12 seats to 3 seats, like for Jammu Valley and Ladakh. So
Mm-hmm.
which are 12, and which gives, as I tell you, the sitting government in Islamabad, it has more space to play when they have 12 people to switch their loyalties on either sides. So this joint Awami Action Committee, it is not only inward looking. What I have inferred from my discussion with them and the people who I have met and who I have interviewed, and my participant observation as well. So they know it, that any such demand being put forward, which would have some kind of impinging on the future of the Kashmir conflict, would be detrimental to their cause as well. But at the same time, they are focused on to some issues, like I told you, that they have their own arguments to establish, against these refugee seats, against the extravagant protocol and perks and privileges of the government sitting in Muzaffarabad. So, and at that, very importantly, when I talk to people over there, they said that we are not against the people who are refugees, or we are not against the people who hold the state subject, because
Mm-hmm.
they continue to be the voters if a UN supervised plebiscite takes place. So we are not going to deprive them, or we are not going to strip them off from their right to vote for that plebiscite. But you would be surprised to know that out of these 12, almost six of those people are enjoying the key ministries, in Azad Kashmir.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of dichotomy, they believe that is basically affecting and impacting the internal niceties of Azad Kashmir. So and even if you
Okay.
see that the kind of agreement which has been reached out on this, that it would be reviewed by a high powered committee, but their ascension to ministries would be held in abeyance. So all of those people who are holding ministries and who have been elected through these refugee seats, they their ministries are going to be held in abeyance. So this realization is there. They believe that if they are going to uh, come up with any unrealistic demand which would have some kind of phasing out or some impinging on Kashmir conflict, so that will not be very much plausible. Secondly, regarding the earlier part of your question, you see, if you happen to have uh, gone through the press release of the Pakistan's Foreign Office yesterday, after this agreement has been reached out, that the language of that press release is very encouraging for Kashmiris, because you see, it states, and I'm going to read out for you, I mean, very quickly, that the people of Azad Jammu and Kashmir freely enjoy their civil and political rights and actively participate in shaping their democratic future. Pakistan remains firmly committed to upholding their dignity, safeguarding their rights, including the right to peaceful assembly and protest, respecting their sentiments, and advancing their socio-economic development. This commitment reflects not only our constitutional responsibility, but also our enduring moral obligation to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. So you see, and after this, this agreement has been reached out. So, and then people, they say, I have been, you have also sent me an article, where some people, they have come up with something which is very far-fetched. If it is the replica of the Karachi agreement, where
Yeah, I'll come to that. I'll come to that later.
yeah,
But first, uh, about this, let's start dissecting this agreement. And
yeah,
first of all, to start with, it has come after days of violence, leading to loss of lives,
yeah.
precious lives. And do you think it should have come earlier? And what is it that stopped the government from stepping in earlier?
Government of Pakistan has stepped in earlier. I mean, when I personally tell you one thing, that there was a huge crowd, and
Mm-hmm.
that crowd was mammoth. And I mean, no one had, including myself, had fathomed that this kind of crowd would show up for this uh, particular protest. So and then the communication blockade that has made accessibility a larger issue, and a grave issue. I mean, Shaukat Nawaz Mir, who is one of the very key central figures of this Joint Awami Action Committee, and who was also in this negotiation committee, he had to travel twice to Kohala and to Dhir Court to to tell people what has been discussed over there in the negotiation committee. So because of the inaccessibility, because of the lack of cellular networks and the internet, so and then this traffic jams due to massive outbreak of the vehicles, and which have been there, so and an unprecedented turnout, so that caused this hindrance in real time. Because you see, even before this September 29, government of Pakistan has announced and set up a negotiation committee. But they agreed on to, as I told you earlier, that they agreed on to 36 demands. But there, the two demands, the committee told the protesters that it would take time, or it would take a constitutional legal course to
Mm-hmm.
to address them. But then, over that deadlock, this entire thing, it built on. And then, unfortunately, the outbreak of violence, which led to the loss of very precious lives. I mean, even from the protesters, and also law enforcement agencies. There have been people who have lost their lives from that side as
Free
well.
security.
So
Yeah.
that charged the scenario, and that I mean, this mob could have gone worse. But I appreciate both the negotiating parties to to have maintained the restraint, so which led to ultimate conclusion of this. Because when this violence and loss of lives and these fatalities, they have occurred, this could have gone anyway. This could have gone out of control as well. This could have gone even more catastrophic than it was, than one can conjecture. So, but I would applaud both the negotiating parties to remained focused, to have remained, very much, pragmatic, and that ultimately led to conclusion.
Okay. And coming to the article that you mentioned,
Yeah.
Danish Irshad in his Kashmir Times column on October 4th, soon after the agreement, he wrote that he spoke about the parallels with the 1949 Karachi Agreement, and
Yeah.
writes that the present accord runs the risk of transforming Pakistan-administered Jammu Kashmir, the semi-autonomous institutions into extensions of Pakistan's, federal apparatus. And he brings in a few points, and a couple of them. One is the education boards that will come under federal jurisdiction. He made a little previously a little blunder, which has he's sent a corrigendum now regarding the accountability
By
bureau.
merging
The National
our bureau with
Accountability
the
Bureau, the laws now, yeah, that correction has that amendment has been made. That, but still, the Pakistan National Accountability Bureau laws will be applicable now in AJK. So, to add to even what Danish Irshad says, does this not look like the federal government will now have more control over the region? And so, if that is so, is it not a dichotomy that and how is the agreement in line with the aspirations of autonomy that this movement espoused?
Well, Anuradha, look, every perspective is worth reflecting, worth pondering, but I would, politely, disagree to what Danish has asserted in this article. And I refute this based on my own argumentation, which I'm going to, tell you one thing, that Karachi agreement, it was a tripartite agreement where, between government of Pakistan, government of Azad Kashmir, and All Jammu and Kashmir Muslim Conference. All Jammu and Kashmir Muslim Conference was an arm extension of, the pro-Pakistan sentiment in Azad Kashmir, or you can say a party that has largely remained under the control of the people who are sitting in Islamabad, or for that matter, even in Muzaffarabad. So this tripartite agreement, which is very, and this is the agreement which is the second agreement after that agreement. There has never been any other agreement in these years which have passed, in between. So this is an agreement between government of Azad Kashmir, government of Pakistan, and Joint Awami Action Committee, which which is a grassroots organic movement, which has received unprecedented support from the people of Azad Kashmir. It is a social movement which, I as earlier stated, has set up a template for the civil rights resistance movements across the world. So so that is why, drawing a parallel between them would not be, I think would not be doing justice to this very movement. And secondly, I would say, the Joint Awami Action Committee has managed to negotiate from the position of strength. The Karachi agreement was completely other way around. So, I have myself seen, and you can ask and inquire from people in Azad Kashmir, that a federal minister from Pakistan was used to be treated as viceroy in Azad Kashmir. So that was the level of, the conformity of the government sitting in Muzaffarabad. So, and this was the time, in past 2 days, they managed to, a high-powered committee which included Pakistan's federal ministers. They kept them waiting, and they said, okay, we are going to Dhir Court to discuss it with people, and we are going to come back and we'll get back to you. Then again, they said, okay, we are going to talk to people sitting in Kohala. We are going to come back and we'll get back to you. So, this is something which is very different. The body language is different. The context is different. The strength through which, they were negotiating is altogether different. So I would very politely say, so drawing a parallel at this moment with Karachi agreement would be doing injustice, and rather to trivialize the effort of the Joint Awami Action Committee. They have done some some spectacular work over the past
Yeah, okay, I
two years.
get it. So are you
And
trying
and, and,
to
and
base
regarding, sorry,
your
regarding, I would say, sorry, I mean, just one quick comment. Regarding this, the board and applicability of laws, NAB laws, which you have said, that argument needs to be discussed. It does not extend the jurisdiction of NAB to Azad Kashmir. Azad Kashmir has two parallel institutions
no,
simultaneously
those
working
laws
with
will
the
apply to?
no. They have the conflicting domains. One is a Tasab Bureau, and one is this what there is some, in another. I'm
Yeah,
just,
yes.
it just ran out of my mind. So these are two institutions which are working in Azad Kashmir and have conflicting jurisdiction. One is run by Azad Kashmir Police, administered by Azad Kashmir Police.
Mm-hmm.
So they say that there should be a uniformity, like there are NAB laws in Pakistan. So it does not say that the NAB laws would become a preamble for the laws which will be made and enacted in Azad Kashmir. It just says that, like, there is a uniform NAB law in Pakistan. There should be a uniform law for the anti-corruption in Azad Kashmir. So that is one thing. As far as this educational boards, this demand is concerned, that is a very technical point. This demand was first raised by the nationalist in Azad Kashmir, and the person who I was earlier referring, Sardar Aftab Khan, was the first person to have demanded that in 1992. So that, that there should be two more educational boards. And then, their linking with the federal board, that has a symbolic significance in a way, because in Pakistan, Islamabad, there is a institution which is called as IBCC, Interboard Coordination Committee. So, if your board, educational board, it would stand aloof, or it would not be part of that IBCC. So then that it means that that those regulatory requirements, or that uniformity which with all other educational boards are operating, that would be missing. And I think Sardar Aftab Khan would be the very right person to talk to on this very matter. I think he would be
Mm-hmm.
better in a position to enlighten us on that.
I think I should do that. But are you trying to, the basic crux of your argument seems to be that the JKJAAC movement has become so strong, so reasoned, so they're strategizing them so very well, that that in itself would be sufficient, according to you, its sustainability and its strategies would be sufficient enough to check any attempts of increasing federal control. Is that what you're trying to say? Or is there more?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is what I'm saying. And regarding Karachi Agreement, there was no mechanism of oversight.
Mhm.
There was no mechanism outlined yet. This will be, the
So the
mechanism for.
Joint Awami Action
No.
Committee is kind of
Has established a
providing a
monitoring
parallel
mechanism. It would be
civil
meeting every.
accountability mechanism.
Yes, it has a monitoring mechanism, that the committee would be meeting
Mm-hmm.
twice a month. So, and this entire thing, it would become documented, it would be minuted, it would be shared. So, there is more transparency this time as compared to Karachi Agreement, which just simply was a loosely coherent agreement, and that's it. And it continued
Mm-hmm.
and persisted for the decades of the decades. So this time, and a joint Awami Action Committee is confident, because people, they have put their strengths behind them. They believe that they, and I repeat that, they very uh, straightforwardly and very clearly they carry on that we are not against the Pakistan. We are not our struggle is not against the Pakistan. We do not want to engage into any vitriolic rhetoric against any of the state institutions. Our demands are very simple. We have a right to live with dignity. Our efforts, they should be acknowledged. Our relationship with Pakistan should be mutual, it should be dignified, and it should be reciprocal. So it should not be, it should not be leveraged as an upper end and a lower end relationship. So
Mm-hmm.
I think, regarding you mentioned, you asked that in the first question as well, will this be able to meet all the expectations and demands? I don't think so. I mean, I believe that, if we expect that all of these things which have been and right now promised would be accentuated and they would be implemented within those given time frames, it seems unlikely. I mean, maybe I sound a little pessimistic, but the kind of the confidence which is bolstered, and
Mm-hmm.
the kind of the body language those people they are talking, the the glaze of their eyes, when you see and you meet them and when they talk. So I think they are confident enough that they can carry forward this momentum for another onslaught. They can carry it forward for another round. So that I think would put other that would party under pressure to deliver, so that this kind of impasse, so this kind of stalemate, it does not
Mm-hmm.
occur again. Because as I just narrated the statement of the Foreign Office, Pakistan also realizes this fact that Pakistan has a fiduciary responsibility in the case of Azad Kashmir. It is not a sovereign authority of the Azad Kashmir. And for that matter, as per UN template, Azad Kashmir government, it is also a local authority, which has to ensure the plebiscitary requirements. So, I think Pakistan, it recognizes its role as the fiduciary administrator, like said in this press release. And I think it would give even more acknowledgement and confidence to this JKJAAC.
Mm-hmm. Now, another question that Danish Irshad also raises, and while I was reading the agreement, I was also curious myself, about this, one of the clauses of the agreement,
Yeah.
which says that incidents of violence and destruction will be prosecuted under anti-terrorism laws. Judicial commissions will be established where deemed necessary, and in effect cases will be registered under anti-terrorism provisions against individuals from both sides involved in the violent incidents between September 29 and October 3,
Yeah.
2025. Now, looking at from where I come, I mean on the Indian side of Kashmir and even in rest of India, and my question immediately was, can this be weaponized, this whole wording be weaponized against civilians and civilian movements at present and in the future? And if so, what kind of a precedent is being set by categorizing mob violence? It's mob
Yeah.
violence. It's not
Yeah. Yeah.
terrorism,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
terrorism. And while there's also this formulation in the agreement of both sidism, individuals from both sidism. And looking at our South Asian context,
Yeah.
both you and I
It can
know
it
it's
can go other
anybody's
way around.
guess
Yeah, you're
how
right. Yeah.
this could be weaponized. So,
Yeah.
do you see this as a cause of concern?
And to be honest, Anuradha, when like you, when I was going through that text of that agreement, so I was little taken aback with that very statement, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought perhaps it is not clearly or properly worded, or maybe joint action committee in being euphoric,
Mm-hmm.
has somehow you
There's been an
know uh,
oversight.
yeah, oversighted, like, what that this could be used against them, and this could be something which is very which could be very dastardly, in fact. So
Mm-hmm.
I try to talk to people over there. I mean, as you know, those who are the part of this, and their argument regarding this is that basically this incident of violence, it started with when Muslim conference, the people of the and the activists of the Muslim conference, they opened straight fire onto people in Muzaffarabad. So that there they that led to loss of one life. And even the most, you say that the scaring and the horrifying violence, it took place in my hometown. So that is Chamyati Dhirkot, where
Mm-hmm.
12 people are believed to have lost their lives on either side. So this joint Awami Action Committee, it believes that again Muslim conference and their local workers, they have collaborated with the law enforcement agencies to have, led to this agonizing development, which cost that number of human lives. So they want their role to be investigated and to be prosecuted accordingly. So, but again, I would definitely concur to what you are saying, that we are very much familiar to South Asian context of and
Mm-hmm.
culture of power and authoritarianism. So I think this could have been better worded, and this could have been taken into some serious consideration before they have had signed it.
Mm-hmm. So, other than that, do you have any other concerns about the agreement, or do you have concerns about how it would be implemented, or the future negotiations,
I mean,
or you're very optimistic?
no, no, no. I mean, I'm not an activist, to say the least. I'm an academic,
No,
so
no, no. I said
yeah,
you.
I'm
You're
just trying to,
optimistic.
yeah. I'm just trying to understand what this, is leading to, what is happening out
Mm-hmm.
there. So, and then that too for my book project, and definitely I will not again say that I have a sentimental and emotional attachment to the region I belong to. And
Sure.
definitely, being a Kashmiri, I would want all the Kashmiris on, either sides, not on onto this Pakistan side, but to the Indian sides, that they must get a right to live with dignity. They must get a right to self determination. It is their fundamental right. But as far as the particular, I'm seeing things in a broader canvas rather than
Mm-hmm.
uh, jotting them down into jigsaws. I'm rather seeing them in a broader canvas, that Kashmiris, they are now more conscious about their identity. They are very well aware and very well cognizant of their civil rights. They have learned how to articulate those rights. They have learned how to resist if these things are not taking place. They have learned how to do the process of bargain, and how to
Mm-hmm.
assert and put forward their demands. So that is, I guess, that major takeaway for me as an academic, seeing these things. And as far as I don't find anything largely contentious in those demands. They except for those two demands, all of those demands, they concern the civil rights of the people, because Azad Kashmir has remained in a political vacuum over the decades. I would validate this, that there is very poor infrastructure. Even internet connectivity is very poor. People, they have an absolute disconnect with the government sitting in Muzaffarabad, and you would see, and being someone who has been curious to know about this thing, you see in this last 1 week, the most irrelevant entity was the government sitting in Azad Kashmir. So that in itself tells you that those old gods who
Right.
used to be the flag bearers, of AJK's nationalism and AJK's standing in the Kashmir conflict, they have gone redundant and obsolete. So I think if Joint Awami Action Committee it tomorrow decides to go into electoral politics, so that I would never be wondered if they do an absolute clean sweep.
Okay. Okay. But for me, the takeaway, let's keep it at the JKJAAC you see as a template for movements,
Correct.
grassroots movements, and civil rights movements across the world. And that's an
And footnote
optimistic
being said
note
by
to
Sardar
end on,
Aftab.
I think.
Yeah. It's not
Thank
my argument, so it will not be honest if I don't mention him over here.
Yes,
Yeah.
sure, Sardar Aftab. I'll
Yeah,
mention
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
thank you, Professor Kaiser. Thank you. It was very
No, it
enlightening.
was pleasure and delight talking to you, Anuradha.
Hello, I'm Anuradha Bhasin, the managing editor of the Kashmir Times, which is now available in a digital format. We bring you in depth coverage and news analysis to combat the erasure of Jammu, Kashmir, and Ladakh. For this, we need your support. Join us in our fight. Become a member today by paying an amount of your choice. Also, subscribe to our YouTube news channel and our newsletter for free. Thank you.